All right, let's talk about one of the biggest challenges out there, innovation. How do you take those amazing random flashes of genius and turn them into a real, reliable engine for growth? Well, today, we're going to look at how to tame that chaos. So, does that question hit a little close to home? I mean, you've got the great ideas, you've got talented people, but the whole process just feels messy, right? Unpredictable, sometimes even wasteful. Well, the good news is you're definitely not alone, and there is a much, much better way. The whole idea of managing innovation can feel kind of wrong, can it? We think of creativity as this wild, untamable force. But here's the thing. To get reliable results, you absolutely need a system. And not a system to crush creativity, but one to channel it, to point it in the right direction. And believe me, the stakes here could not be higher. This isn't just about launching the next cool gadget. A company's, and yeah, even a society's long-term health and success is directly tied to how well it can innovate, consistently and effectively. And when you do adopt a system, the benefits are super tangible. This isn't just theory, okay? We're talking about real bottom-line business outcomes. Things like being better at managing uncertainty, which is huge, higher growth, more revenue, better profits. You also see reduced costs and less waste. And what about your people? They're more engaged, more empowered. Plus, it boosts your reputation, your valuation, and even makes you way more attractive to potential partners and investors. I mean, this is the clear-cut business case right here.
Okay, so we've covered the why a system is so crucial. But what does it actually look like? Well, this whole framework is built on 8 core principles. Think of them as the foundation. So let's walk through them.
First up, let's get a quick definition on the table. An innovation management system is basically a framework of interconnected elements, processes, roles, guidelines, all working together for one single goal: to turn new ideas into real, tangible value. Think of it less like a textbook theory and more like a practical toolkit.
Okay, principle number 1, and this is maybe the most important one, the realization of value. Every single innovation effort has to be focused on creating value. That's your North Star. It doesn't matter if it's financial value for the company, social value for the community, or just a better experience for your customers. If innovation doesn't have a clear purpose, it's really just noise. Second, you need future-focused leaders. Innovation just can't happen in a vacuum, right? It needs leaders who are always looking ahead, who actively champion new ideas, and who create a space where their teams feel safe enough to explore, to experiment, and yeah, even to fail sometimes. Principle number 3 is all about strategic direction. Look, innovation can't just be a bunch of random projects. Every single thing you do has to line up with the organization's bigger picture, its main strategic goals. This is what ensures you're not just innovating for the sake of it, but you're actually innovating in the areas that are going to move the needle. All right, the 4th principle is culture, and this one is huge. You can have the best processes in the world, but I'm telling you, they will fall flat without the right environment. This means you have to build a culture that really values deep curiosity, that encourages people to work together, and, this is so important, a culture that treats failure not as the end of the world, but as a super valuable learning opportunity. Number 5, exploiting insights. Great innovation rarely comes from a lightning bolt out of the blue. It's almost always built on a solid foundation of insights. A really strong system is one that actively hunts for and uses information from everywhere. We're talking market data, customer feedback, academic research, you name it, all to spot those hidden opportunities. The 6th principle is about facing reality. And the reality is, innovation is risky. It's inherently uncertain. You are venturing into the unknown. Now, you can't just eliminate that uncertainty, but you absolutely can, and you must manage it. And you do that through smart, small-scale experiments and staged investments, learning your way forward. 7th up is adaptability. The world changes crazy fast, and your innovation process has to keep up. So this means building in the ability to learn quickly from new information, to adapt to changing conditions, and frankly, having the courage to pivot your projects when the evidence starts pointing you in a new direction. And the final principle, number 8, really ties it all together. It's the systems approach. The key here is that none of these things work in isolation. You have to see them all as one big interconnected engine, where your leadership, your culture, your strategy, and your processes all reinforce each other. Okay, so those are the big ideas, the foundational principles.
Now, let's get practical and look at the mechanics of the system, the engine that actually drives all this innovation forward day to day.
So at the very heart of it is this beautifully simple looping cycle. Plan, do, check, act, or PDCA. You plan an initiative. You do it, you execute the plan. Then you check your results against what you were hoping to achieve. And then you act on what you've learned to make the next cycle even better. It's just this constant loop of learning and improving.
Now, for this system to really truly work, it takes a pretty big mindset shift, especially when it comes to one of the scariest words in business, failure. So let's take a minute to look at how this framework completely reframes our approach to risk. And this slide really nails the core difference in thinking. A traditional linear mindset sees risk as something to be avoided at all costs, but an innovative mindset, it sees risk as something to be managed. In this world, failure isn't the end of the road. It's just data. Seriously, it's just another piece of information that helps you make a smarter decision the next time around. So here's the big takeaway from that. Stopping a project isn't a failure. Not at all. It's a strategic decision. It's actually a critical part of the whole innovation process because it frees up resources and gives you valuable learning for the next, more promising idea. It's literally learning in action. Okay, one last practical point. A question I hear a lot is, wait, do I have to throw out all my existing processes to do this? And the answer is a big, resounding no. This system is actually designed for integration, not isolation. So whether your organization already uses formal systems for things like quality management, or maybe you're starting from scratch, this framework is super flexible. It can totally stand on its own, or it can plug right into your existing processes, which makes it incredibly adaptable. And it's really important to know this isn't just some random collection of good ideas somebody came up with. This entire framework is actually based on the ISO 56000 series. That's a formal set of international standards for innovation management. So that gives it a really credible, globally recognized foundation for building your own innovation engine. So let's end with a question to chew on. Instead of seeing uncertainty as this big, scary threat, what if you started seeing it as the raw material for your next big breakthrough? Just think about your own work for a second. What's the biggest uncertainty you're facing right now? And how could you maybe flip that question mark into your next great opportunity? Thanks for tuning in.